Today, we're going to weave together some incredible wisdom from Stoic philosophers, Zen masters, legendary coaches, all to explore one really essential question. What does it actually mean to live a full life? So what's the thread that ties all these different voices together? Well, it's a single, powerful Japanese concept called Shoshin, or beginner's mind. Now, this isn't about being naive or clueless. Actually, it's one of the most demanding disciplines there is. It's the discipline of staying awake, of being present, and being open to the world as it really is, not just how we think it is. This right here, this is our foundation.
And that discipline, Shoshin, it brings us right to the heart of the matter, the central challenge we're going to tackle. It's a question that everyone from Bruce Lee to the Stoics has asked. How do we dive into life head first, but without clinging so tightly that we end up breaking?
Okay, let's dive into that. Our first pillar is all about this: how to commit ourselves 100% to our work and our lives without getting hopelessly attached to the results.
You know, this piece of ancient wisdom from the Bhagavad Gita is just so profound. It's not telling you to be apathetic or to not care. It's about separating your effort from the outcome. Bruce Lee famously said there are no limits, only plateaus. And when you put that idea next to this quote, you get this incredibly powerful philosophy. You push through every single plateau, not because of what you'll get on the other side, but for the sake of the push itself. And hey, this isn't just some ancient philosophy. It applies right here, right now. The management guru Peter Drucker, he noticed that truly successful entrepreneurs aren't these high-rolling gamblers. They're not risk-focused, they're opportunity-focused. And just look at the difference here. One is in love with the work, the other is just addicted to the thrill of the bet. For that opportunity-focused person, the outcome, it's almost beside the point. That's the Bhagavad Gita in a business suit. And, you know, the Japanese have such a beautiful word for this whole practice: gambaru. It means doing your absolute best, persevering no matter what, but with this genuine indifference to whether you actually succeed or fail. It's the perfect antidote to what Shakespeare called our traitorous doubts. You know, that little voice that makes us lose out just because we're afraid to even try. Gambaru says, go for it. Give it everything you've got. Don't even look back.
So that idea of just going for it, well, that leads us directly to our next big idea: the power and also the danger of the stories we tell ourselves about our own lives.
The philosopher Nassim Taleb came up with this term, the narrative fallacy. It's our deep human need to connect all the random dots of our past into this nice, neat story. And yeah, it can feel like wisdom, but it can also be a total trap. Even the Stoic philosopher Epictetus warned about this. He said that if you're constantly talking about your past achievements, you're anchoring yourself there, and you can't have that beginner's mind we talked about. And this is where we get to a really crucial distinction, one made by the legendary basketball coach George Raveling. See, the danger isn't in having a story, it's in performing it for an audience instead of truly owning it for yourself. When you perform your story, what you're really looking for is validation. But when you own it, scars, mistakes, all of it, that's when it becomes a real source of power. I really want you to let this quote from Raveling just sink in for a second. Those private struggles, right? The things we're tempted to just edit out of our life story, those aren't weaknesses. They're not our shame. They are our substance. They're what give us our depth. So if owning our story means owning the hard parts too, well, that brings us to our third pillar, the really difficult art of finding potential right in the middle of devastation. Let me tell you about the Stoic philosopher Seneca. He gets exiled to this island, Corsica, and he is absolutely miserable. He writes about it being this barren, lonely rock, total torture. And look, his suffering was real. We shouldn't sugarcoat that. Exile, injustice, loneliness, these things are genuinely painful. But here's the crazy part. That same island today is a stunning European vacation spot. The beauty was always there. Seneca just couldn't see it through his own pain. Now, this isn't about some kind of toxic positivity. It's about learning to see what the poet Maggie Smith calls good bones, the hidden potential in a situation that on the surface just looks like a total wreck. Coach George Raveling tells a modern story that gets at this same idea. He gets a late-night call from a former player, the 7'2" NBA veteran James Donaldson. And something in Donaldson's voice just tells Raveling, this man is on the edge. So what did Raveling do? Did he deliver some huge, life-changing speech? Nope. He just showed up. He stayed on the phone, he drove to his house, and then he called him again the next day. And the next. It was just this quiet, steady,
faithful presence. He calls this being a merchant of hope.
It all boiled down to this one simple, powerful message, unspoken but felt so deeply. I see you. You matter. I am here. That was it. It wasn't about solving the problem. It was just about being present with someone in their darkness.
And that idea of presence, of just showing up without demanding a specific outcome, it leads us directly to our fourth key idea, the practice of living with an open hand. Anne Morrow Lindeberg had this beautiful way of describing it. Imagine you're on a beach looking for seashells. If you dig around frantically with a clenched fist, you find nothing. But if you wait patiently, open, like the beach itself, the sea washes its gifts ashore. The open hand receives. The clenched fist is just trapped. Epictetus used a similar analogy of a child whose fist gets stuck in a candy jar because they grabbed too much. It's our desperate grip on outcomes that leaves us empty.
The Stoics had a name for this kind of disciplined trust. Amor fati. It means a love of one's fate. And this isn't just, shrugging your shoulders and saying it is what it is. It's an active, even enthusiastic embrace of whatever life hands you. Seeing it all, the good and the bad, as the raw material that you get to work with.
Okay, so how do we actually bring all this into our daily lives? That brings us to our final section, which is all about pulling it together and thinking about what we leave behind. Look, this isn't just abstract philosophy, right? It's a real daily practice. It's a list of things we can actually do. Pushing through your work without clinging to the result, owning your own story, seeing the potential in hardship, and in our relationships, staying open, like Tony Dungy reminds us, by not letting the sun go down on your anger.
And all of this, it all culminates in this one profound question from George Raveling. It's not about what you achieve or what you collect. It's about the quality of presence you bring to the world. What will be your life signature? And that question gets its real urgency from this incredible insight. We tend to think that our time here is limited, and that's the tragedy, right? But what if it's not? What if the impermanence is actually the gift? What if that's the whole point? It's what makes every single moment matter. And so we come full circle, right back to where we started. We're the lucky ones. We're the ones who get to be here at all. And with that luck comes this kind of joyful obligation to stay awake, to stay open, to do good in the world, and to live with a pure and tranquil mind. This is the essential art, and it's not a destination we reach. It's the imperfect, daily attempt to awaken.